All right, so I think it's actually pretty important that we go through this. I think I've made a video about this before, but it bears repeating because this is something that quite a few people are not clued in on, and it is what I believe one of the most existential threats to democracy, or as close to a democracy as we have these days. But it is nonetheless something that is on the surface level terrifying, and on the deeper level also terrifying. It's disturbing, disgusting, and it's here, and it's unabashed at this point. Today we're going to be talking about Christian Dominionism. Now, this is important to talk about because the rise of people saying that I am a Christian nationalist, the rhetoric surrounding things like America first, even though there are real big problems with where that phrase is rooted from. But there is a hydra of dog shit that we are contending with these days around what used to be conservative rhetoric but is no longer even about conservative rhetoric. It is instead a multifaceted attack on basic fundamentals of American life and liberty and democracy. And it is the body of it, I do fully believe, is Christian Dominionism. So, what is Christian Dominionism? This one's kind of an interesting way to approach it and to look at it. We're going to look at it through this website called gotquestions.org. Now, I'm very familiar with this, so I can go a little bit further off from this, but this is a Christian website. So we're not even looking at it just from the lens of like a secular perspective. We're going to look at this first from the lens of a religious perspective. So we're going to read just a little bit, and we're going to talk about it. Dominionism, or Christian Dominionism, is a term coined by social scientists and popularized by journalists to refer to a subset of American Christianity that is conservative, politically active, and believes that Christians should, and eventually will, take control of the government. But it's more than just that as well. The term is sometimes used as a catch-all by bloggers to describe any politically active Christian, but not every conservative, politically minded Christian is a dominionist. This is correct. This is very, very true. Dominionism is a very specific thing. And I'm not exactly sure if this one goes into the mountaintops. That's a little bit of a spoiler for you, but yeah, we'll get into it. Christian dominionists believe that God desires Christians to rise to power through civil systems so that his word might then govern the nation. The belief that America is a Christian nation is sometimes called soft dominionism, which is also grossly incorrect, and the Founding Fathers were not overwhelmingly Christian. The idea that God wants only Christians to hold a government office and run the country according to biblical law is called hard dominionism. Again, there is more to it than just that, but we're going to start with this. Their beliefs are based on Genesis 1:28, which says, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, fowl of the air, every living thing that moves upon the earth," blah, 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 blah. It's taken by Christian dominionists as a divine mandate to claim dominion over the earth, physically, spiritually, and politically. However, this is taking a large step away from the text, which says only to have dominion over the creatures of the earth and to subdue the earth. It is likely that this verse simply meant for humanity to multiply, expand, rather than stay in one place, and keep and take care of all living things. There were no political entities in Genesis 1. It's strange. It's strange that we can't understand the context of that, and that Christian dominionists have taken it that far, but that's because they crave power. However, dominion theology goes even further with this verse, leading to two other philosophies: Christian Reconstructionism and Kingdom Now theology. Christian Reconstructionism is an intellectually high-minded worldview most popular among the more conservative branches of Christian faith. Reconstructionism says that dominion will be achieved by each Christian excelling in his or her individual field. Kingdom Now, most popular among charismatic and Pentecostal groups, focuses on taking dominion of the earth by way of spiritual battle. Kingdom Now adherents believe that long ago Satan stole the keys of spiritual dominion when he deceived Adam and Eve. Then when Christ gave the keys of kingdom to Peter, it was a sign that dominion had been returned to man. Now it's our job to take back what is rightfully ours and basically dominion over the earth, spiritual seed do it for Christ, etc., etc., etc. Now, what's fascinating about this is even in this website, which is overwhelmingly Christian, they even say very, very specifically, while many well-meaning Christians are attracted to these philosophies, Christian dominionism and its offshoots are unbiblical. Okay? But let's dive into this a little bit deeper. Before we expand on this and we begin talking a little bit further about some of these aspects. Yeah. There we go. That's what we want. That's what we're looking for next. Okay. Now, keep in mind, when we're starting to talk about Christian dominionism, it's true that the firm, hard beliefs that they need to that they have, first of all, that it's a divine mandate. This is something that is like ordained by God to be the lords of the world, and that dominion theology has to dictate and direct all of human life. This is an unbiblical and anti-Christian concept, but they don't say that. They don't say that that's what they're doing. Instead, they code their language in very specific talking points. Saying that you're a Christian nationalist is overwhelmingly buying into this idea. Or, in a softer method of them trying to convince you that the founding of America was a Christian act, is also a soft lead-in. It's a teaser. It's a draw to like hook you into the basics of dominionism. That's where a lot of this comes from. So they don't necessarily have to be like, hey, team, come and join the Dominionists. They don't do that. Instead, they use a lot of money and political capital in order to try and convince people who are otherwise just good Christians, but maybe they can just kind of be convinced and like lured very slightly and slowly and chipped away at until they start believing more of these ideas, and thus Christian dominionism continues to increase. That's where a lot of this comes from. But it's deeper than that. Of course it is. One of the more alarming parts about this is something known as the Seven Mountain Mandate. So dominionism also goes hand in hand with the evangelical movement. And there are a lot of evangelicals. There are probably more evangelicals than just straight up dominionists. By and large, you can almost always understand that somebody who might identify as a dominionist, if they're not just some dumb shit on Twitter, with an anime avatar, it's somebody that you rarely will ever learn their name, and they are working as a political activist and are either utilizing money or donating money for this cause. So then underneath that, much like how, you might have like the Chinese triad is the Dominionists, and then the Tongs street gangs, the evangelicals or something like that, So the Seven Mountain Mandate is it's a movement within evangelical Christianity, but it is also 100% part of Dominionism. What this is from, it's believed to have begun in 1975 with a purported message from God delivered to three different evangelicals, ordering them to invade the 7 spheres of society. Okay? Lauren Cunningham and Lance Wallnau are the ones that basically brought this into the forefront. If you don't know, Lance Wallnau, he's pretty active in a lot of religious and political circles. Lance Wallnau and Bill Johnson, they published Invading Babylon, the Seven Mountain Mandate. So, what they want is, and let's see, it's derived from Revelation 17, 1 through 18, whereupon verse 9 reads, "And here's a mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, the 7 areas which the movement believe control society, and which they seek to control are," and this is what they want. They want overt and overwhelming control of family, religion, education, media, entertainment, business, and government. Absolutely. Complete and overwhelming control. Now, this is basically the direct and overwhelming telling of intention that Dominionist theology is not about trying to revitalize and reshape the things that we have in our society into a Christian-colored world. It is an explicit and intentional, direct attempt at full-blown authoritarian control over every aspect of our lives. Every single one. And you can see it happening right now. Right now. They've been doing it for fucking ever. Obviously in government, but say like in entertainment. The attack on mainstream news, and we need instead our own real news, fake news. Aggressive movements towards business, that's easy. Media, obviously. Education, right now. Right now, with them constantly bombarding school choice, school choice, school choice. And the reason they want that is because they don't want public schools. They don't want secular schools. They want religious schools. Teaching how to be obedient in service to God by way of service to Dominionist fascistic Christian theology. That's what this is all about. And they are not hiding it at all. Now, it's one thing to just point all of this out. The other thing that's also really important to point this out, the explicit and intended purpose of them attaining the Seven Mountain Mandate and having that overt control, this perfect authoritarian-like world that they want, is quite literally to bring about the end of the world. That's what they want. They don't hide that either. Like, it takes only a little bit of like browsing around and looking up the Seven Mountain Mandate to realize that's what they want. They want the rapture. They want this evil, sinful, poisoned world to be swept away and everything rebuilt in the image of God. Oh yeah, Ted Cruz's dad was one of the main followers of Seven Mountain Mandate, by the way. So was Paula White, the spiritual advisor to Donald Trump. Yep. And a lot of people that are involved in these Dominionist groups that also believe in the Seven Mountain Mandate have immense clout, and they donate tons of fucking money to specifically Republican, usually further right Republican political candidates. So they're already here. They're all over the fucking place. And that is why we should not be slacking in being vigilant about Christian nationalism, because there is a point. There is a goal. They have a plan, and it's not a fucking conspiracy. They'll just fucking straight tell you. So yeah, that's a very brief primer on what Christian Dominionism is.